talk when they're nervous, and some people talk a lot when they're nervous. And so it's difficult to assess in a short amount of time, you know, whether somebody is talking a lot and not really asking you questions because they're nervous, or just because they're not really interested in getting to know you and they want to talk more about themselves. So it's interesting. So it can be challenging to differentiate between somebody's personality and sort of and nervousness as well, and that is exacerbated with speed dating, I suppose, because you're not together for very long. Another unique challenge of speed dating would be, on the traditional events where you're meeting multiple people in one event, you might get overwhelmed with the number of conversations you have. It might lead to information overloads that might make it harder to recall or process what you've learned about somebody or notice red flags. And it's easy to overlook sort of little subtle warning signs while you're trying to keep track of names and details and things like that. That's in the sort of traditional speed dating event world. Another red flag, another sort of unique challenge is that with speed dating is that you have a short time frame, and so you might be having very surface level conversation. It doesn't leave a lot of room for really getting to know one another. You've got a short amount of time, so deeper red flags like controlling behavior or sort of deeper incompatibilities might not emerge during sort of casual small talk. And then also, there's external pressure to make quick judgments because it's a fast-paced sort of event. And so that can create pressure to decide on compatibility immediately. And that might lead you to make rushed or inaccurate assessments of who you've met and who you'd like to see again. There might also be a sort of FOMO, fear of missing out. And that might also push you to ignore potential warning signs. So there are some unique challenges with speed dating, although I do think it is a good tool, a good way to meet more people. It's just good to really notice what the unique challenges are. Also, if somebody is very charming and charismatic, that can distract, and that happens in general dating as well. Some people are naturally charming or charismatic or, very confident, and so that can overshadow potential red flags, and that might make you miss some subtle warning signs. So some common red flags then to spot during dating, and with regards to speed dating as well. I've put a few down here because it is difficult to see if you're speed dating or if you're dating. It's difficult to see the deeper ones really, like sort of controlling person, behaviors, those sorts of things. Difficult to see in dating, but you can get signs. So these are sort of common red flags to spot early on in dating or during dating or speed dating. So one is like if somebody has an overly negative attitude and they're sort of complaining, or there's a bit of the bitterness there about past relationships. They might be talking about their exes negatively, their ex-relationships. Whilst we've all probably been hurt by relationships in the past, if somebody is really talking about it a lot and going on about it and putting a lot of blame or anger on the ex-partner, that to me is quite a red flag. If they say their ex is crazy or their ex was terrible, yeah, I mean, it could be true, but it's also, to me, it is a bit of a red flag. I did hear that a few times when I was in toxic relationships, people saying that their exes were crazy. And at the end of the day, I thought, well, actually, that probably isn't true, because they were probably saying that about me when we finished our relationship. So yeah, it's good to notice these things. Another one is evasive answers. So avoiding direct responses to basic questions. If you're asking somebody a question and they just don't really want to answer you, and they're not really giving you the information, or being open to being honest and open with you, that's definitely a red flag of things to come. Other red flags then during speed dating, during dating: somebody that dominates the conversation, talking too much or not letting you speak. Again, you have to use your own sense of, of somebody, of getting to know somebody, and your own, what's the word? Your own intuition as well, because as I said before, that person might just be quite nervous and wanting to put across their best self, and so they're speaking a lot. So you have to use your own judgment with that. Another one is disrespectful behaviour. So somebody that's interrupting you, dismissing, something that you've said or your opinion, or inappropriate jokes, inappropriate comments. This is all, to me, are all red flags. Inconsistencies, so contradicting themselves or their story. I mean, that's something to notice. It would be less easy to notice in a 5-minute conversation, but it is still something to think about. So then we're going to look at some green flags. So recognizing on the other side of it, recognizing healthy behaviors when you're speed dating. So the definition of green flags then is, positive behaviors that indicate the possibility, the potential of a healthy relationship. Examples of these in relationships are, consistent communication, somebody who is in communication with you consistently, emotional availability, somebody who is open about expressing themselves and how they feel, and accountability and support. So, somebody who is accountable when they make a mistake, and they will say sorry, or, will try to make amends or listen to your point of view. They take their accountability on perhaps past relationships not working out, rather than just sort of putting the blame on somebody else. And support, supporting you, you supporting them. These are all green flags in relationships. Let's look at some green flags to notice during speed dating. So, during speed dating, if somebody's actively listening to you, you can see they're listening, they're asking questions, they're showing genuine interest. That's definitely a green flag. Also, if they are, if the conversation is balanced, if they're sharing, responding equally, both of you are able to do that, that's definitely a green flag too. Somebody who's respectful, has a respectful attitude, polite, kind, mindful of boundaries, definitely green flags. And positivity, a sense of humour, of optimism or enthusiasm. So somebody that's, fairly positive and sort of optimistic and hopeful that they will meet somebody, is going to come across that way, and is going to want that in a partner as well. And so these are all green flags. Another green flag is a little bit more subtle, but it's also about how you feel when you meet that person and when you're sitting with that person, even though it's only for 5 minutes. How do you feel when you're with them? Do you feel comfortable? Do you feel like you can be yourself? That's quite important as well. So then some helpful tips to spot any potential red flags during speed dating. I'm just going to go through a few of these. So the first one is to trust your intuition. So focus on how the person makes you feel during the conversation. Trust your instincts, pay attention to small inconsistencies or to you feeling uncomfortable with somebody. Again, if you're not sure and you've had a speed date with somebody, and you're not sure, you can always have a follow-up date with them, you know, for a sort of a second date, an actual meeting, or a second, perhaps, you know, if you are doing something like speed dating online, you know, you might then have a video call or something like that as a second meeting, but keeping it short. If it is in person, you know, having a coffee, a walk, being around public, you know, in a public place with other people, and keeping it fairly short, to me is a good first date, or, you know, second meeting after you've met them already on speed dating. And you can always assess how you feel on a second date, because you don't always, you know, you're not always going to be aware of everything during a speed dating event. Another way to help you to spot red flags and green flags during speed dating is to prepare some specific questions that reveal more about their personality, about their attitude, about their values. You know, so you could prepare some questions like, you know, what do you like to do when you're not working? What are some values that are really important to you in a partner? You know, various questions that are a little bit more specific and help you to really assess that, not assess the person, but get to know the person a bit more. You could also take notes between rounds of speed dating. You know, if you are at an event and there's lots of people that you're talking to, this is hard. You know, you may not have time, but you could sort of make a couple of notes in between having a speed dating date, just so you can remember how you felt and maybe what you talked about, just to jog your memory about that person and whether you think you'd like to see them again or get to know them more. So by being mindful of these challenges that perhaps are, you know, are there with speed dating, with the sort of short amount of time that you have to chat to somebody, you can better navigate the speed dating environment and you can make better informed decisions. So then, how to handle red flags in real time. So if, you know, you are on a date and or on a speed date and you notice a red flag, something that makes you feel uncomfortable, you can gracefully end the conversation. You can just say, it was nice meeting you. I hope that you enjoy the rest of the event, or, you know, something like that. You know, I hope you enjoy the rest of your evening. Have a good week, whatever it is, you know, but you can sort of gracefully end the conversation, and there's nothing wrong with that at all. You can ask clarifying questions. So if you're not sure about something, if there's a vagueness there from them, or they're not giving you an answer to something, or perhaps there's something that's made you feel uncomfortable, a comment or something like that, you can ask an open-ended question. You can say, you know, what do you mean by that? Or, you know, it's not being confrontational, it's just giving that other person a chance, I suppose, to explain to you what they meant, or to, you know, I don't know, I guess it allows you to just delve a little bit deeper, and just so that you can make a good judgment of whether that was a red flag, or whether, you know, they're just nervous. Also, you know, it's important to stay calm, stay collected. Don't feel pressured to respond to uncomfortable comments. You don't have to respond if somebody's crossing a boundary. You can just say, I don't really want to talk about that. So, you know, these are tips to handle red flags in real time. Also, trusting your intuition. Build trust in your gut feelings. Your intuition is a powerful guide. And I don't know if you've ever done this, you know, if you've ever had a sort of gut feeling and you've ignored it, you know, it's nearly always ends up being right? So it's about building that connection with your intuition.